lines marked on the avatar, and we have this the direction of the fabric marked with these checks. And here in the fabric property editor, if you scroll down for the material, you have an opacity puller. So now it's on 100%, and if I pull that down, you see the fabric gets transparent. If we do it like this, then you can kind of do an analysis to see how, if you want to utilize the bias stretch of the fabric in relation to the Langus line, you can use this checked fabric and play around with the grain line direction here. So the assignment I have for you today, it will be, I'll keep showing some things, but I'll wait, now you see the screens here. Page. I'm gonna put this also in the, wait. Well, sorry. Double screen here. So the assignment for today will be that we mark one side of the avatar with the Langus lines, one side of the Langus lines avatar with the traditional block patterns, as we did now. You can also put in more seams if you want to put in a joke straight away or some other things. That's fine also. And the other side we mark with lines derived from the experiments we did 3 weeks back. And so that you have one right hand side as sort of traditional block patterns, and left hand side like how we did things 3 weeks back. And then you set up the avatar in a pose which is sort of suitable for your project in some way. And we make it symmetrical, so you get the right and the left hand side identical. And then we extract patterns from both these sides and enlarge it and adjust it into the desired volume and shape that you think is reasonable for what you do. And you adjust the grain line of things if you think that makes sense. And then we today develop these two parallel sketches into a set of garment. What's the end goal of this project? Is it to make one set, or one garment, or
that is something we are
is it open for?
looking towards. It's a bit open. There needs to be a physical garment, but if you make like a top where everything, if you put the amount of hours that could be expected into one, perfect. But then you can see it. It's not just a t-shirt.
Yeah, but for today we'll make a sketch for one outfit.
Yeah. Right.
So we turn this. I mean, we kind of draw now like a body stocking up here, but after we got that out, feel free to cut it up into any number of garments or place it on top of each other.
Should we do it on this avatar or on the real avatar, like our person?
Let's do it on the Langus lines avatar today, because I want you to play around with the directions of the fabric, and I want you to do these two sort of designs, kind of these parallel ones, just to get the to have something for you to compare with. What are the classic seam lines and today. And I don't really expect you to, or maybe use parts of this eventually, but today it's just like an exercise to get started here, to build volumes, and I'm sure that you will, I mean, to do this and to scale it up at a certain percentage, that's kind of number one, and then after that you will need to start cleaning your patterns up and make nice shapes and alter the volumes in. Most likely you will alter these volumes differently in the different parts, on different parts of the body, and depending on what kind of garments you make.
And of course, if you can put them in a seated position, if you want, Sabina, since you have a wheelchair user, you can just, after using that, put it in a seated position to see what kind of information you
Mm.
get from that.
And we can also look at tomorrow for the auto-fitting tools. So it means like if you start working on one avatar and then it replaces that avatar, CLO can change the size of the garment to relate to the other avatar. So let's work on these avatars today. I'm gonna put this assignment in the Google Drive just shortly, but I just want to show you or also remind you a bit of what we were doing last time we met here now. So you might, I'll draw this. So we had, here is the traditional sort of trouser pattern, and you probably remember that for the trousers we had, and now it could be good for you to look at these. Wait a sec. Here. It's a bit awkward with these double screens here. This printouts document that I shared you with you last time, where we had these reference points, because the idea was that seams needed to pass through all these points. So we had points at the front and the back of the elbow and front and back of the knee if we wanted to create bent arms and knees. That's why you normally, like if you have traditional trousers, sometimes when they are pre-bent, you very often see that you have darts pointing towards these points here, or seams at the back. Or with sort of jacket sleeves, which is bent, you have one seam here, one seam here, or a dart here. So we have this envision one point at the front of the elbow, or the front and the back where the elbow is, and front and the back of the knee. These points at the center back, and points, the breaking points in the armpit and in the crotch. And then we also have this various points, that sort of draping points that we looked at, where the fabric draped, where if we should sort of smoothen a drape out, we need to sort of relate to that point and cut through it somehow. So I'll draw out here. When we made the trousers, we envisioned one point. We saw one point where the fabric draped here at the sort of top of the, I say top of the seat, or kind of in the same place where a dart ends in a classic trouser pattern. And so what we did then was that we had a line going out like this, and then downwards. And when we shaped it for the knee, came out to here, and then it went back. To the back of the back of the knee, and then something downwards like this. And I'll adjust this. Yes, please. So then, and we can see if we can flatten this out. My experience is that sometimes you need to put in a straight line, like an inner seam as well, and then merge the pieces together. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
Can I see yours from the back?
So if it doesn't, this is how we draped our trousers last time. And if the software doesn't recognize it as a pattern piece, try to put in some more, maybe, I don't know, put in a seam like that, and then we see if it works. Yeah, now we have one piece here, one piece there. If I mark those two and press enter, then I get a pattern out like this.
Can you show it from the other side again?
And this needs then to be, see if I have the, you see here, it's stitched together here, so I can, what you draped a few weeks back was a pattern looking like this. So we could just, if you make those lines straight in here, you can, if you have two straight lines which is stitched together, you can mark both of them with, first mark one and then hold shift down and mark the other one, and right click and merge them. So then we have a pair of trousers here. And if I pull that out and deactivate it, and then again by pressing Shift X, have a skeleton, and I do like this, lift the knee or put it in a wheelchair position or whatever, and here I extract these pieces. Then you'll see you have a different different shape.
Because I do not have the possibility to make it a pattern. Like it won't make it a pattern.
No, exactly, and that is since the software doesn't really understand that it can flatten this out, even though it's hopefully theoretically possible. So then what I did was that I put in an extra seam in here or somewhere, which is this seam here, and here, and then I afterwards removed that and merged them.
So from the, can you show where the extra seam is?
You can place it kind of wherever.
But it's the one inside the leg, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
this seam here. I took it down to the back point of the knee. Knä. What do you say in English? Knäveck? Är det på svenska? Knäveck? The back?
Ja,
Knä. Ja. Vad sa du?
knähosen.
Knähosen.
Häsen.
Häsen.
Knähäsen. Häsen. Häsen. Ja. Ja. Vi kallar det knäveck. Knäveck. Veck är ett veck is a fold. Anyhow. And then at the top, and I don't know if you remembered when we did this 3 weeks back. I'd like to go back here, or I'll put the avatar in. We had this draping line which needed to pass by the front part of the knee and the back part of the knee. You could either do it, I can do it like this, or it can continue the other way, back here, and then down. It's just that the seam needs to pass through both the front and the back, or one seam needs to do that.
Can you help me to merge
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I can show you how to merge it. So if we have those two pieces and we extract those, and you see this is that piece and this is that piece, and if I turn on the,
Isn't it in the hole it has to merge in?
so we're gonna merge it here.
But isn't that on the other side?
That is here. Just find out where that seam is, and
How do I find out?
yeah, one way to find out, which is very often very helpful in CLO, is that if you click anywhere in the 3D window, you have this blue point to orientate yourself in the 2D window. And the more complex pattern you have, the more handy this function kind of is. So then you can click on both sides to kind of understand where you are. You can also use the sewing machine tool and see that here is a green seam. If I click on that, that is highlighted in the 2D. And to be able to join two pieces, both lines need to be straight. So what you need to do before joining is to delete the points in here so you get two straight lines. So now we have one line there and one here.
So on mine they were like completely straight, but they did merge, and then now there's like a blue stripe line, but that doesn't matter, does it?
No, that blue stripe is a merge here. Blue stripe line that's just kind of a trace of that.
It does like, it's a bit wonky, but I think it's okay. It's like this, you see?
Oh, you can merge lines without making them straight nowadays. Okay, it's
It's all the time.
yeah. No, I was what we're gonna do tomorrow with these motions. That was sort of a kind of a, I don't know, a 1-day operation, which now is done in 2 minutes, and that's a fairly recent update. So I was doing another CLO course a few weeks back, and I kind of planned to go through that for a whole, or like a whole day, and I thought, oh, it's a 5-minute thing. So, and this blue line here, it's baseline, and you can access them here up in pattern of unlock all baselines. then you can delete it if you like, if you don't want to have it around. Mm. And then if what we did, last time we met, we draped trousers that looked like this. And if I want to make a pair of full trousers now out of this, then again I use the Control D function to double it. This. And I straighten it out here at the back. Delete all curve points. And then I can merge those. So this is some quite similar to what we did last week. And not last week, last time we met.
Can you explain again, why do you have to make the lines straight? Why can't you just mark them and then merge without?
Apparently you can.
Oh.
Nowadays.
That's a new feature.
I'll see what happens here. If we... I mean, there will be... If I mark these and merge... Yeah, it does the straightening out thing. I think it's just that I've made that for... I've done it like that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I have to now I have to relearn.
Is there a reason like mine and the 3D window are like on top of each other after I mixed them? Like this?
Yes, the reason for that is, I'll show you.
Should I also go back?
It depends on I'll do it back here. Wait, wrong. Here is my. Here is the first leg I extracted. Or this is the second one, and then I do this Control D, and it appears a pattern piece here. And depending on where I drop this, that decides where it turns up in the 3D window. So if I drop it here, then now it appears over there. It could be that it happened to move it like that.
I put it on the other side, but it still does it.
See, because it needs to be placed here in the right position. And see here, merge. Then it should, if you have it placed in the right position in 3D window, it.
Now they're not on top of each other, but I can try and merge it and see what's happening.
Altså jeg gjorde det bare.
Oh, you need, but they're all both up in the air. You need to place them on the avatar around the leg before merging them.
Det er bare fordi,
Otherwise it will sort of be merged up there and it won't.
Skal jeg prøve
Yeah, it will be merged, and then when you simulate it will be pulled together up in the air and fall down on the ground.
Jeg ser bare lidt problem, altså så er det som til at herfra. Altså det er bare sådan en skiller, og så er det merge det.
Har du bare syet sammen foran?
Nej, jeg forstår ikke noget, hvad jeg sagde.
Har du en GDPR-ting?
Ja, hvad er det til? Det Zoom har taget eller er det til vores Instagram? Altså, det skulle det Instagram.
Det er nok mere i forbindelse med nyheder.
Okay.
Ja, altså så det er ikke til en Instagram generelt, nej, men det er mere sådan til lige præcis det, vi har gang i her.
Ja, ja. Så skal jeg bare lige skrive.
Ja, altså hvis du kan købe det, og det forestår der, at vi hver gang simpelthen giver jer en god dags deadline til at sige. Nej, så tror jeg ikke, jeg skal sige, at der er hovedet eller
And
Ja.
for the top part of the body, we had two different. We did two different drapes
Det var også sådan.
when we met last time, and it was the first one. I don't know if you remember, came in to this point here at the back, down underneath, up here, address the point up here at the shoulder, and then came down to here.
When you're at the, can you turn it around a bit? Yeah. So you go down. When you're at the elbow, then you go.
It's just like it goes from the top of the shoulder here down to the elbow, and then round to
Yeah, and then
the front of the elbow. And you see now it's a bit awkward because at the leg the software didn't understand, but now when I put in a cutting line like this and mark that, then it extracts a pattern. And it's very cornery and odd, so one needs to work quite a lot with it if you want to use it, but one can extract quite complicated things from here and then just enlarge it. And these twists around the elbow, they kind of just make sense if you shape the arms. If you don't shape the arms, then there's no point of messing around with those points. So now, when you after lunch, when you start sketching your own designs, kind of draw the lines as you find appropriate for what you're doing. But I want you to make one half with more of a traditional tailor pattern making setup, and one which is more related to the kinetic garment construction workshop that we made. Because then you will also, if you put the avatar in, if you move the avatar in a pose and you have it symmetrical, you can have both those two to relate to each other, and hopefully that will give you a better understanding of what is going on.
When I try to make my pattern flatter,
Better.
it's like the whole thing. Did I do
Yeah.
something wrong? It should
So, because it's just one piece.
Oh, I think it's because I just, yeah.
Det har jeg i hvert fald.
Ja.
Jeg tror, det var noget med, at vi fik dem sikkert på sådan en return eller et eller andet, eller sådan det bare sådan.
How to do my pattern flattering.
Men min flow stängs av, så jag måste börja om. Så jag liksom startar om den flera gånger. Så jag ska börja om det varje gång.
Do you have the traditional patterns for clothes from collection production or whatever you call it now? Do you have traditional patterns like block patterns? You call it as well for the
I just some of it.
Det minder mig lidt om, da jeg lavede den der bobbykjole, hvor jeg havde tilfældigvis det i en collection.
Wow, look at her.
Did you get it when you did collection production? Did you get the block patterns?
From
Yeah.
Lovely.
I confused it
Yeah, sure.
collection was nice.
No, that was something that, oh, okay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
I think
super.
so. Good.
I'll do it in or during lunch break here.
Do you think it makes sense? Because my code designer, he is in a wheelchair,
Mm.
and these methods are kind of made for movement. But
Yeah, but I mean, there's movements in a wheelchair as well.
he doesn't have any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is less movement, of course. But I mean, then of course he has a certain pose that he spends most of his time in. Then. So I guess less movement, but of course being comfortable in that specific pose is
Yeah.
very important. I mean, it's then it's supposed like generally then it's different for different wheelchair users. Some wheelchairs they still have a lot of movement is very important for them, and others are yeah, then it's more important too. And there's kind of my
Okay, then come on. What?
I mean now we're like in this last workshop, and now we're only kind of been addressing the very very formal qualities of dress, like how fabric falls and how it breaks and how it stretches. And now you can design it for applied situations. Probably, or maybe, or not maybe, but then comes in with a lot of other aspects as sort of seismological, values, or like as cultural things, like probably my experience of doing things for wheelchairs, usually when I did denim jeans for wheelchairs, it was like they just want to look like everyone else, but in the wheelchair, they wanted their jeans kind of to look like jeans, but to be also functional while in the wheelchair. And so then it comes to the aspect of recognition of different things. So now I extracted this pattern piece, and just make one test here where I bend the arm like this, and then we see if we can extract it and then you see you get here is a sleeve, then it's shaped in two different ways. So last time we did two different. I'm going to remove this these lines here. Last time we did two different drapes for the top part of the body. Failed to delete. Here is a little line still. We did one drape like that, and the last thing we did last time was we draped the fabric with a line going from back here up to this point, over the drapes over the shoulder, down to here, and then down the arm. And then you can either address this point at the front and back of the elbow, or just go straight down like this. And if I flatten that out, get that pattern piece. And when we draped last time, we always had the grain line straight up the back, as you might have remembered. So we got a bias over the front like this, which is a way that I often found very useful for getting a good sort of symbiosis or congruence with the skin lines.
And this is it crashing all the time?
Yeah, it just crashed like 6 times.
I can see your country.
Oh.
No, I don't know why it's like every time I was blasting it together. Yeah, I think
Altså, jeg har slet ikke noget der til. Jeg var sgu da næste. Så jeg var ved at prøve at lave mønsterdelen, hvor hun havde armene op.
Den skal være sådan der, ikke? Ja, okay. Og så bare rundt der.
Could you show the linjeforløb again for the one that starts at the back, the one that goes, the one you just showed?
Yeah, I'll leave them here on the screen. So I can save this avatar also in the folder, and you can open it on your own computer. Okay. So
Jeg synes, jeg lige sætte alle den her, vi har lavet tidligere.
So the assignment then for the afternoon is that you set this up and enlarge your patterns and play around with the scalings. You saw that we can both enlarge it, it's like in Photoshop, you can pull the upper corner to get an to keep the proportions, or you can just widen it. And then put it into pose, work with the grain direction, and then gradually start creating styles out of this. And I'll spend the afternoon going around and help you on a more individual basis. And then by the end of the day, gather what you have in screenshots. Say like the save your files and make screenshots so that you have front and back views of it. I can show you if you haven't worked with, I can show you there's a nice sort of sketch screenshot function that we can look at to the end of the day for just creating sketches for you. You could, depending on as you do sort of two parallel ones, it could be, depending on if the computers you're working on can handle it, you could pull in an extra avatar to have two avatars next to each other if you do sort of one traditional setup and one kinetic thing. And what you do then is, let's see, I'm gonna save this before I do. Then you pull in another avatar and be sure you choose add here, because if you don't, then then X is then this direction, Y is upwards and down, and Z is the depth. So then I just choose, it should be 1 meter here to the right. So then it's possible to have two avatars next to each other. It does slow down the software a little bit, but hopefully, I think as we still, as you right now, just kind of just sketching without a lot of other heavy textures and things on it, I think it's doable.
Can you show how you changed the grain direction?
I can show how I changed the grain direction. It's kind of it's like a lot of things in CLO. It's very straightforward if you find the little hidden function, because they managed to hide sort of a ton of different small tools where you least expect to find them. So if I extract a piece here, like this, then the most, and I put it in here. Here, no, that tool here, called the edit texture, is like a little piece of fabric.
Yeah.
If you click that, you see the grain line appears here as an arrow.
Yeah.
And if you then click the pattern piece, you can pull it around like this. And quite often when you have these sort of, it's the same as the scaling function, that when you hold down your left finger to move this around, if you at the same time click down your right hand mouse button, it also comes in the option of if you want to be precise and, I don't know, have 78 degrees, or just move it 1 degree or 2 degree. One can also right click here. This I use very often though. Right click and here align grain with y-axis. The y-axis is the what is it, not horizontal, vertical. So that's very useful. So it's just like under the, it's also possibilities down here too. But I think this just right clicking on it here and a line with something. And it also often also use a line grain parallel to selected. That could mean that if you have an internal line, for example, or another line or an outline, and you want to align the grain with that. Sorry, we go into the texture editor, right click and choose align grain parallel to selected. Then if I choose that line, you see then the grain line makes parallel to that, or here parallel to that line, or parallel to that line. And then one don't need to sort of do it freehand. So, okay.
Should we have lunch?
We should have lunch. I've been overdoing it too long now. It's sorry, it's fine. I'm not used to the Kolding lunch hours.
But from us who come from a bit of far, you don't have breakfast so early.